historically, the race had been in Delaware, Ohio, and it was, I guess, for about 6 years or so. And recently, within the last year and change, started to look for a new venue. And early on, our operations managers and our regional managers for the Midwest got into discussion with Sandusky, with Shores and Islands, Ohio, and really identified as this being a great location for a race. It's really been really cool to see how, it's revitalized the downtown area with all these cool restaurants and whatnot. And you got Lake Erie, and there's some roller coasters just right over there that you get to go hang out to. From the get-go, we were told Sandusky would come to play, that they would show up and that they welcome us with open arms, and they really have. It's how we can help, how they can help us. What can we do to make this race successful? It's the first one. We get the first one successful. We have a great experience for our athletes. People are going to come back. And when they come back, they want to take time and they want to really enjoy the city and the region. So really, you're seeing the best of Sandusky. Volunteer-wise, it may take anywhere from 800 to 1,000 different really spots for volunteers for a race of this magnitude. And Sandusky and the counties around have really helped us get to that number. Tons of community involvement, just to name a few. We got Goodwill, Kiwanis, Lions Club, and a bunch of different church organizations, school groups helping out, and really, here to give and support, obviously, their time and the race, and then make it as positive experience as possible for our athletes. And really, we're the ones organizing the event. We're the ones that are helping lay the groundwork for making sure police are around, EMS, food arrives on time, permits and whatnot. But it's really the volunteers that make this work. They're the face of this race, and they're the ones that are the ones that the athletes are going to see across aid stations, across the finish line and whatnot. It's one of the most empowering things ever, because you see you see excitement, you see people that cross the finish line and they're tired, and that's what I'm excited for this community, is to see that. There's 2,000 athletes that are going to come here and they're going to have a great time and really get after it, because we got some really unique stuff here that we're doing on this race that isn't anywhere else across the circuit, with the swim start at off the Kelly's Island ferry boat, the Carly Emily, so things like that are unique that aren't really done anywhere else on the Ironman circuit.
About 16 to 18 months ago, they approached Shores and Islands, and we're kind of looking for venues in this area. And Shores and Islands thought, Sandusky's a pretty good venue with the waterfront that we have here, with the historic downtown, with some of the farm roads that we have that are good for biking. And we agreed. We thought this was going to be a great venue for the Ironman race. I think it's great that we have such a compact downtown. We have a good community support for this race, because we've got these athletes are locals. There's locals. My wife is doing this event. There's locals that are having family come in from out of town because this event is happening, and it's going to be great for our city. Mid to late July is when this town is already rocking with all the events that we already have going on, plus Cedar Point is in full swing. Plus, I know Sports Force has tournaments all weekend. This is the best time to showcase what our city can do, and we have a lot of local restaurants and businesses that will see a larger volume of foot traffic. When you have 2,000 plus athletes that are coming in, they're bringing in families, and they all have to eat, they all have to sleep to get rested up for the 1.2 mile swim, the 56 mile bike, and the 13.1 mile run that's part of this Ironman event.
This race is a little bit different for me. My nephew called me and said, I got to do a half Ironman. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I was not planning on necessarily racing this year. So I'm just coming off a broken ankle. So I lost about 2 months of training. Mentality for this year is really just to finish. No goals from a timing perspective. It's just to get across the finish line. Honestly, it's kind of an addiction in a lot of ways. Once you start doing this, it's addictive, and the adrenaline that you get from crossing the finish line or even the training, it just becomes part of you, I think, in a lot of ways. The training that you put in on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and when you wrap up the race and cross that finish line, to kind of put that all into perspective is really kind of awe-inspiring. Ironman is certainly a community of people. You meet a lot of people along the way, and you end up training with a lot of people along the way, and you form lifelong friendships. That's certainly the case for me. I've been doing it for now 11 years, and the friendships that I've created over those 11 years with the people that I've raced with are amazing. Some of my closest friends now.
I always knew I wanted to do one. I didn't want to do it alone, so I made him do it with me, just so I could go through the pain with him. Just knew it was about the run. I'm a swimmer for college, so like that, I'm not worried about that, but the run is definitely my weakness. So I'm ready to attack that, and then I'm nervous to see if I can walk after this race, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. It's definitely awesome. I didn't expect it to be like this, so being here is pretty sweet, and I cannot wait to meet other people and do this race.
This is not my first Ironman. I actually did the Rev 3 competition. That was my first ever triathlon, and that was here in Sandusky in 2010, and I did the full distance, which was 140.6 miles. And then that started my journey on with Ironman. I did, in 2011, I did Ironman St. George, the full, so that was 140.6. I've done Louisville Ironman, Cozumel, Mexico, and then Wisconsin. And so we're really excited to have Ironman here in Sandusky in our hometown. It's actually really exciting because we get to sleep in our own bed, we get to have our families here, we get to have our kids in the Ironman kids competition, so it's actually really great. It's a benefit to being in your own town and having the hometown support. We have 4 kids, so my husband and I are both doing the competition, so kind of giving each other some space to mentally prepare, getting our bike. We have to bring our bike back down here and getting all our gear and stuff ready. So just kind of like taking little breaks and moments just to reflect. The race is awesome, but it's taken a lot of months to get to this point, so kind of just having gratitude and just being thankful for just having the opportunity to train for this event. And then tomorrow it's just going to be kind of like a celebration of it, and just being able to cross that finish line and having your family there and seeing you finish that is pretty awesome. We're just both excited to be doing it.
This is my 97th Ironman. We are on the road to 100, which we're doing our 4th documentary on. I found Ironman as a source of channeling, I guess, my athletic endeavors, if you will. I was a hockey player pre-addiction. Because of my choice to use drugs, hockey kind of fell by the wayside. And then I remember watching the Ironman Hawaii during my addiction, and I thought, I want to do that someday. So in '99, I started doing Ironmans, and then in 2001, I came back from Ironman New Zealand, and our local newspaper, the Toledo Blade, ran a story about my life, and the results of that article led me to form Racing for Recovery to give back the lifestyle that I was currently living. I'm a big 80s hair band guy, and I think of like a band being on tour that then gets to play their hometown. That's kind of what this feels like, to be back in Ohio. I'm born and raised in Ohio, taken my family to Cedar Point for years, so this feels like home to me, and it's another stop on the journey to 100. I race in Maine next weekend. The following week after that, I'm in Boulder, Colorado, so it's just a stop on the tour.
A lot of fun to have Ironman here in Sandusky. I did the 2016 Rev 3 from Cedar Point, this same distance. But yeah, it's exciting to be here. It's nice to sleep in your own bed, not have to worry about traveling, and just nice to have it here. The Iron Kids is a great event. They ran it last year or 2 years ago in Madison when we were up there. You know, they see us constantly training, and I think that, you know, gives them some motivation, and they're also very competitive like us. They were quick to tell each other who won and who came in first this morning. So crossing the finish line, there's nothing like it. No other experience that I've had that rivals, you know, crossing the finish line, having thousands of people cheering for you, watching you, especially seeing a finish line set up on Columbus Ave is pretty neat.